Don't open the door. It was a quiet night when Sarah came home from work. The kind of night where the air feels thick, and the world seems to hold its breath. She unlocked the front door to her small apartment and stepped inside, the familiar scent of old wood and coffee filling the air. It had been a long day, and all she wanted was to take a hot shower and collapse into bed. But as she closed the door behind her, something felt off. The hallway leading to the bedrooms was dark, and the apartment felt emptier than usual. Sarah shrugged it off, thinking it was just the exhaustion playing tricks on her. But then she heard it, a faint sound, like someone whispering, coming from the farthest room, the one at the end of the hall. The door. It was the one room she never used. The one that had always been locked. Her landlord had warned her not to go in there when she first moved in, but Sarah had never given it much thought. Just an old storage closet, she assumed. But tonight, she was certain she heard someone, no, something, on the other side. The whispering grew louder. Sarah. Her heart skipped a beat. The voice was faint, but unmistakable. It sounded like her mother. Her mother had passed away 5 years ago, and yet, it was as if she could hear her calling her from beyond the grave. Trembling, Sarah slowly walked toward the door. Her hands shook as she reached for the doorknob, drawn in by the strange pull of the voice. She hesitated for a moment. Her mother's voice again, clearer this time, whispering her name. Sarah, please open the door. A chill ran through her body, but the feeling was overwhelming. She had to know what was inside. She turned the knob. It clicked, but the door didn't open. Sarah stepped back, confused. She had been certain it was unlocked. Her eyes scanned the hallway. Everything was still. Then she heard it again, closer this time. Sarah, don't you want to see me? Her hand gripped the doorknob once more, this time twisting it hard. The door opened with a creak, and Sarah stepped into the room. The room was dark. There were no lights, no windows. It smelled musty and damp, as if it hadn't been touched in years. But what struck her was the feeling of coldness that wrapped around her, making her skin crawl. Then she saw it. In the far corner of the room, there was a figure. It was small and hunched, a shadow within a shadow. The voice, her mother's voice, came again, this time from behind her. You shouldn't have opened the door. She spun around, but the hallway was empty. A harsh gust of cold air hit her, and the door slammed shut behind her, trapping her in the pitch-black room. The whispering came again, louder, more frantic. Now you're mine. Sarah screamed, pounding on the door, but no one came. She turned back toward the figure in the corner. It was closer now. Closer than it had ever been. And then, in a voice not her mother's but something else entirely, it whispered. You should never have opened the door.